Thanks, Rob. I'm divorced. And I have a really beautiful partner now who is a psychotherapist. So I have this weird bias. I started thinking about everything in terms of therapy. Happened. And one of the things that's interesting, in the last year I've spent a lot of time talking to our customers. Most people get married sooner or later, and most of those get divorced. So a lot of people can relate to this. And I don't know if it's because, senior executives at the Fortune 500 get divorced at a higher rate than everyone else, but they really can relate to this message. So I'd like to talk to you about how talking to your customers, our customers, is really talking to them about couples therapy. And here's what I mean. IT operations thinks that app dev is cheating on them. They're pretty sure app dev is cheating on them with Amazon. Sooner or later, they catch them out. They're like, hey, you're having an affair. They're like, well, what does this mean for our relationship? Are we in an open relationship now? Are we like San Francisco hipsters and this is all supposed to be cool? I'm supposed to be fine with this? What does this mean? And Pivotal's out there saying, no, lots of clouds is okay. There's a lot of fighting in a bad relationship, right? You fight about everything. You fight about money. Amazon's so much cheaper. You fight about the kids. They're like, well, Johnny's grades are dropping in school, so I've been waiting 11 months for that beta. What's going on? You fight about the dishes and the chores. You never change your password. You never turn off those VMs. You made me buy all those lunds and then you never used them. There's a lot of tension in this relationship. There's a lot of nagging that goes on, right? It's like, you got to file a trouble ticket. I don't want to go file a trouble ticket. Why? It's Saturday morning. Why you got to make me file a trouble ticket? Just go email ask. It's a very uncomfortable relationship. So what do we do? And I sit down with CIOs a lot, which is fun because I never went to college, and these guys or gals are very senior. And for some reason, I think it's a juggling trick. They're like, this guy's got some credibility. We'll listen to what he wants to say. He says, well, look, what you really need to do is you need to fix your relationship. We're not going to talk about transformation. We're not going to talk about software. We're not going to talk about tools. We're going to talk about therapy. So if you won't go to therapy, the relationship's already over, right? And this is the secret here. If you can't get IT operations and the application developer in the room at the same time, you are never going to sell them anything. They need to get divorced. It's over, right? Cloud Foundry is the couch in this picture. Follow along with me. It's a little confusing. Cloud Native is psychoanalysis. So what do you need first? You need trust. In order to rebuild a relationship, you need trust. You need some mutual regard, right? This is, I love that photo. I don't know. Trust, NASA does a lot of research on trust because it turns out if the team on the space shuttle doesn't trust each other, people will die, right? The Navy also does a lot of research on trust. What it turns out is trust hinges on two things. You've got to have a shared goal. You got to believe what the goal is. We're going to stay together. We're going to make the marriage work. And you've got to have mutual respect. You've got to believe the other person is contributing to that goal. The shared goal conversation in IT can be fixed for your customers by giving them a new miles per gallon. I credit Rob Mee for this idea. You can really compare everything that the organization is trying to do in terms of digital transformation and give them a single number. It's like we know you can look at any car in the world, whether it's a Maserati or a Toyota, you say, well, what's the miles per gallon? And somebody can tell you. So the miles per gallon for the modern enterprise is cycle time. It's how long does it take to go from idea to production? And it turns out IT operations will get on board with that, app dev will get on board with that, the business owners will get on, they all love it. They're like, yeah, we have one thing we can talk about. At least we agree on something. That's what the therapist is always looking for, right? You got them on the couch, like we just all need to agree on something. Give them one number. The other thing you could do, and this saves a lot of marriages, more than you think, let's just do it for the kids. Right? We got to stay together for the kids. Well, the kids in this case are the business. Right? If app dev and IT won't talk to each other, you're like, guys, come on. The business needs us to work together. They want us to figure it out. So you need some new kinds of therapy, right, to make this whole conversation work. And I don't mean art therapy. I did art therapy as a kid. It did not help. I mean, look at me. But what you do need is you need to use Cloud Foundry. You need to use this cloud-native conversation as a new place to build trust. This is why we always do the Platform Dojo with developers and operations in the same room at the same time. It's one process. It's like we're one Pivotal. They need to be one Boeing, or one Allstate, or one Ford. This is a message they can understand because it's a message we understand. We have to align ourselves to that message, and so does our customers. So you start talking about how things get better, and you're like, well, you know, we put Johnny in private school, his grades went up. This is what happens when you start focusing on the business. You're like, well, we're shipping every quarter, so even though we don't really get along and there's still some Amazon, there's some, like, we're not sure if the relationship's open, but at least the kids are doing better, right? He comes home for dinner. That feels good. In this case, it's like, hey, you're using Cloud Foundry, at least now I know where your logs are. I know that your passwords are in UAA. We might have to do something to spice up the relationship. You know, we're going to keep it clean. I, as agnostic, is not a dirty word. I want to go really meta here for a second, though. Why is this conversation useful? Right? Why am I talking about couples therapy other than that it's funny? I'm not going to be as funny as John. Right? It's because it shows empathy. Here's the career-limiting move, and I see folks do this, and it's recoverable, but it's really tough. If you go into your customer's organization and you came out of operations, you're going to side with the IT ops folks. And be like, oh, yeah, those dirty developers are off using Amazon. I hate them. They're cheating on you. You're down-leveling the conversation. You're taking sides. The therapist can't ever take sides, right? I hear your pain. I hear how betrayed you feel. I hear how you feel like you're doing the best you can, you're bringing everything you have to the table, and they're just not respecting, they don't see your side of it, right? So don't take sides. Show empathy for everyone's point of view, but focus on the goal. The goal is to get them in the room together, talking to each other, so that they can move forward. That level of empathy changes the conversation. And that's, I think, the goal. So thank you very much.